I used to stand there and say, my name is Joe Biden.
My name's Joe Biden. I'm a Democratic candidate for the United States Senate. Look me over. If you like what you see, help out. If not, vote for the other by. If not, vote for the other by. Give me a look, though, okay?
Once again, the question of character dominates presidential politics.
Character is on the ballot.
Today it was Democratic Senator Joseph Biden. In his case, the transgression was using other people's words and ideas while embellishing his own record.
Why is it that my wife, who's sitting out there in the audience, is the first in her family to ever go to college?
Why is Gladys the first woman in her family, in 1,000 generations, to be able to get to university?
I'm not joking. Like, guys like me were the first in my family to go to college.
My ancestors who worked in the coal mines in northeast Pennsylvania don't come up after 12 hours and play football.
8 hours underground, and then come up and play football.
I'm a hard coal miner. Anthracite coal, Scranton, Pennsylvania. Okay, that's where I was born and raised.
It's because they didn't have a platform upon which to stand.
There was no platform upon which they could stand.
Joe Biden still doesn't have a platform to stand on. He's been running for president his entire adult life, and he still doesn't know why. That's why you get contradictions, like the self-anointed middle-class Joe, who made $108,000 a year in 1973, or a third presidential campaign centered on character 33 years after Biden's first ended because of plagiarism. It's why the empathy candidate curses out union workers in Michigan. Joe Biden is a career politician. He's a creep in every sense of the word. It's not principles that's making his position shift to the radical left. His only rationale is power for power's sake. And it's why now the Democrat establishment thinks he's the perfect vessel to usher in their radical agenda. Let's explore.
My name is Joe Biden. I've been a United States Senator for 15 years, as a matter of fact, since I've been 29 years old.
Friends, today I filed the necessary papers to become candidate for President of the United States. That's why today I'm announcing my candidacy for President of the United States.
But I think we have a phenomenal opportunity to make things better for our children and ourselves.
You know, this is an incredibly challenging time for our country, dealing with some of the most critical challenges this country has faced in the past 50 years. The threat to this nation was unlike any I had ever seen in my lifetime.
We can make an education system work, and it's not working now. We can deal with our trade problem and promote American jobs that pay real money. We can do all this and much more. The next president of the United States has a phenomenal opportunity.
Our next president has an unparalleled opportunity to do all these things and a lot more.
We have an incredible opportunity to not just dig out of this crisis, but to fundamentally transform the country.
It's within our power to literally change the world.
In a way that's going to make life better for our children.
The world is ready, America's ready, and I'm ready. Are we ready? I believe we are. But I need your help. I need your support to accomplish all this. If you agree with me, go to Joe 30330.
Can a career politician change his spots? There's a reason why Joe Biden's never finished better than 4th in Iowa. Americans can see through smarmy career politicians. His first campaign for the presidency is known because he dropped out in disgrace in September 1987 for lies about his personal story. Even Kamala Harris made it to December.
Cannot measure the health of our children,
The health of our children,
the quality of our education,
the quality of their education,
the joy of their play.
or the joy of their play.
He quoted 5 pages of someone else's work without proper citation.
I've done some dumb things, and I'll do dumb things again.
I went to law school on a full academic scholarship, the only one in my class to have a full academic scholarship. Went back to law school and in fact ended up in the top half of my class. I was the outstanding student in the political science department at the end of my year. I graduated with 3 degrees.
Newsweek says Biden actually went to school on a half scholarship, ended up near the bottom of his class, and won only 1 degree, not 3.
33 years later, Biden is still stealing the life story of a Labor Party politician. But that isn't all Joe Biden has lied about. Even before he got to the swamp all those years ago, he was accused of living outside his Newcastle County district in Delaware. With no accomplishments of his own, Biden has always had to make things up. In 1987, he claimed he marched in the civil rights movement, when in reality, he was palling around with his Democrat segregationist buddies. Like all career politicians, he has a perilous story about an emergency landing under threat from terrorists.
I remember landing under sniper fire. There was no greeting ceremony, and we basically were told to run to our cars. Now that is what happened.
If you want to know where Al-Qaeda lives, you want to know where bin Laden is, come back to Afghanistan with me. Come back to the area where my helicopter was forced down with a 3-star general and 3 United States senators at 10,500 feet in the middle of those mountains. I can tell you where they are.
In reality, his helicopter was forced down in a snowstorm. Biden has lied about being arrested with Nelson Mandela and lied about pinning medals on war heroes. Biden has been selling his blue-collar shtick for a half a century. It's never been true. Quote, it's become standard line for Biden to refer to others, calling him middle-class Joe, the Washington Post reported last year. The only problem? Middle-class Joe is a name Biden bequeathed to himself. Biden admits he's never been gainfully employed in his life. After leaving the vice presidency in 2016, he said, quote, I don't know what the hell I'm going to do. I've never cashed a paycheck in my entire life. Well, that's not exactly true. Joe Biden came to the swamp earning $108,000 a year at a law firm, which was 13 times the average man's salary of $8,000 in 1973. But Biden always thought of himself as better than your average Joe.
I'd like to compliment you all on your good judgment in coming to hear me. I am one of the most important men in America.
When he got to the swamp, Biden complained about his measly $42,000 salary as a senator, which was still 5 times more than the national average. Quote, I do not know about others, but I am worth a lot more than my salary of $42,000 a year in this body, Biden said. He argued against senators getting supplemental income while he still got paid for speeches and had side deals with his law firm. In just 4 years, Biden's worth grew to over $456,000 in 1977. This reality hasn't stopped Biden's never-ending claims about the scrappy kid from Scranton, Pennsylvania, who carried a lunch bucket, even if he never actually carried one.
My mother believed and my father believed that if I wanted to be president of the United States, I could be vice president. My mother and father believed that if my brother or sister wanted to be a millionaire, they could be a millionaire. My mother and father dreamed as much as any rich guy dreams. Absolutely. They don't get us. They don't get who we are.
He'll still never be president. But the never been gainfully employed Biden did manage to become a millionaire, raking in $15 million since leaving office, as the swamp does. But he's still just a boy from Scranton with a son who shares a zip code with Ben Affleck and drives a Porsche, courtesy of Ukrainian natural gas companies and the Chinese Communist Party. Though Biden has run for president 3 times, he hasn't learned much.
Yesterday, you were quoted as saying, the one lesson I learned from my previous presidential run is words matter. That's right. And you can't take words lightly. And then you came out with this one. All right, here you go. Listen to this one. This is great. Barack Obama. I mean, you got the first mainstream African-American who's articulate and bright and clean and a nice-looking guy. I mean, that's a storybook man.
When he didn't have speeches to steal from anyone else, all Biden had to rely on was his own bigotry and arrogance. Biden's still challenging voters to IQ tests and push-up contests.
I think I probably have a much higher IQ than you do, I suspect.
You're a damn liar, man.
Look, here's the deal.
It started off fine, but Biden quickly became agitated when Fallon didn't agree to support him in the caucuses.
We got to stop building and replacing pipelines. You got to go vote for somebody else.
You see it on the TV. No, I know you do. And by the way, that's why I'm not sedentary. I get up and no.
And I'd be delighted to sit down and compare my IQ to yours if you'd like, Frank.
If you want to check my shape on it, let's do push-ups together here, man. Let's run. Let's do whatever you want to do. Let's take an IQ test.
A lot of guys want it. I'm not worried.
And then he presses on Fallon's chest, pokes him with a finger, and finally grabs his jacket with two hands.
Biden has so much empathy, he calls voters who disagree with him fat. He's still judging people based on the color of their skin.
You got more questions, but I tell you, if you have a problem figuring out whether you're for me or Trump, then you ain't black.
And snapping at reporters.
Please clarify specifically, have you taken a cognitive test?
No, I haven't taken a test. Why the hell would I take a test? Come on, man. That's like saying before you got in this program, if you take a test where you're taking cocaine or not, what do you think, huh? Are you a junkie?
What do you say?
Why attack Sanders? Why? You're getting nervous, man.
These clips are devastating. He looks like a Joe Biden wind-up doll with somebody else's words coming out.
Some things never change.
I will be damned if the same politicians who refused to act then are going to try to come back today and say we need a middle of the road approach to save our lives. That is too much for me.
I don't have a middle ground.
So we cannot stop at criminal justice system. We must begin the work of dismantling the whole system of oppression wherever we find it.
The last thing you need is an up-armored Humvee coming into a neighborhood. It's like the military invading. They don't know anybody. They become the enemy. They're supposed to be protecting these people.
Let this moment radicalize you.
You know, there needs to be unrest in the streets for as long as there's unrest in our lives.
Does anyone believe there'll be less violence in America if Donald Trump is reelected?
During the 1988 campaign, Biden said you won't have much success running for president if you don't know why you're running. And boy, was he right.
The second thing that I'd like to do is tell you why I want to be president. Because I think too many who run for president of the United States don't know why they want to be president.
What would you do differently, Donald?
I'd make our allies, forgetting about the enemies you can't talk to so easily, I'd make our allies pay their fair share.
Oh, they can tell you programmatically that they have a 12-point program for trade and a 9-point program for education. That does not answer why.
This sounds like political presidential talk to me, and I know people have talked to you about whether or not you want to run. Would you ever?
Probably not, but I do get tired of seeing the country ripped off.
Why would you not?
I just don't think I really have the inclination to do it. I love what I'm doing. I really like it.
Why does a woman or man want to be president of the United States?
Probably wouldn't do it, Oprah. I probably wouldn't, but I do get tired of seeing what's happening with this country. And if it got so bad, I would never want to rule it out totally, because I really am tired of seeing what's happening with this country, how we're really making other people live like kings, and we're not.
Beyond the obvious ego gratification that comes from being president of the United States of America, and there is part of that. But if a woman or man lets that be the basis of their judgment to run for public office and run for the presidency, in my view, they are doomed to see to it that the United States.
There is one less candidate in the race for the presidency tonight. Delaware Senator Joseph Biden dropped out of the hunt today. His plagiarism in law school and his exaggerations about his academic record made it impossible for him to continue.
I do it with incredible reluctance, and it makes me angry.
You've said, though, that if you did run for president, you believe you'd win.
Well, I don't know. I think I'd win. I tell you what, I wouldn't go in to lose. I've never gone in to lose in my life. And if I did decide to do it, I think I'd be inclined, I would say that I would have a hell of a chance of winning, because I think people, I don't know how your audience feels, but I think people are tired of seeing the United States ripped off.
We are going to make this decision now. The Fox News decision desk has called Pennsylvania for Donald Trump. This means that Donald Trump will be the 45th president of the United States. What started off as unlikely, impossible, is now reality. He said he was always a winner.
I can't promise you everything, but I can tell you one thing. This country would make one hell of a lot of money from those people that for 25 years have taken advantage. It wouldn't be the way it's been, believe me.
Only one is consistent. Only one has an inspiring life story full of accomplishments, defying odds, and incredible feats. And only one will ever be president.